So a little bit of let's say an update. I'm feeling a lot better than I was. Certainly about a month ago when I contracted COVID and had that fall in the street. I just really felt unwell. It's really helpful, and I said this before, and I've said these and the other things, that looking at stuff on YouTube which explains about depression, explains about mental health, explains about what to do in those sort of situations. I mean, 20 years ago, you could probably, go and find a book, but the way people talk about mental health is so much more open and clear, and there's a lot less stigma. Whereas when I was diagnosed in the 90s, that it was like, you're a loony. Completely. And that's what I remember being in my 20s back then, and I'm thinking, well, that's it. I might as well just, commit myself. I'm just, that I'm just obviously a complete lunatic. No one else feels like this. No one is like this. And the only people who are like that are, are taken away in white coats and stuff like that. So, but thank goodness now in 2022 that people do talk about it. It's less of a stigma to say that you do suffer. You can get people who still will deny it and still not accept that they have depression. Sorry, it's my cat meow. But I think the key thing I've learned, especially over the years, is learning about it, knowing that you can do something about it. So I've got medication, knowing that you can read about it, so you can keep yourself, not sane, what's the word I'm looking for? Keep yourself connected to the fact that, you're not on your own. Other people do suffer, and people do suffer much worse. And there's treatments and there's help out there. And I think certainly in the last month, when you do go through such periods, I always try to look for solutions. I remember back when I was doing my teacher training, a long time ago now, and saying to myself, that there was a problem with the first semester or something like that, and they wanted me to do something else, and I just said, look, what is the solution? Tell me. Let's work it out. And that's been sort of my feeling about life, is that there are solutions to a lot of things. And yes, that they can be painful and they can be a long process, whereas that I have gone through stuff where you think it's never going to stop. I mean, I've been unwell for a long time, but after a number of years, or say for instance, like when my mum passed away in 2015, I was like so impatient. I was like thinking, it's been 2 or 3 months. I wanted over and over. I mean, it was ridiculous. It took a year just for me to get out of bed. You know what I mean? It was just that bad. But the solution always, it does happen. Sometimes it takes, as I say, I get very frustrated. Like with a month ago, and I didn't want COVID. No, well, not anybody does, but I didn't want to be ill, and I certainly didn't want to go back into a very depressive mood. But there are solutions out there. There are solutions. And that feeling of utter hopelessness doesn't last forever. It can last for a few weeks. It can last a few months. But eventually you'll come out of that. And as I say, I don't suffer from bipolar. My it's unipolar, so it's basically it just goes down and back up again, then down and back up. And that's what I remember telling the psychiatrist, the mental health worker, that it never goes crazy mania, where it goes like really bizarre and feeling that sort of, I know crazy is not the right word, sorry. Well, mania, just basically, you feel, the euphoric sort of thing. I mean, I've had that, a couple of times, a handful of times, but that's lasted like a half an hour. But that's been maybe 2 years ago, you know what I mean? So it's not like where you can get weeks and weeks of people's mania sort of thing. There is a solution, and I think talking about it and finding your voice and finding what works for you. And sorry, the cat's thinking, who's he talking to? Who's it? You all right? Sorry, he's probably like he doesn't understand why I'm talking, and the fact that yeah. So you find the solution for yourself and find out what works for you. And certainly that even just sitting talking to this phone, sorry, the cat just even talking to this phone, it does help. And because it's helped me connect with other people and helped me to connect and realise that there are people out there exactly the same as me who suffer, and happy in the fact that you can talk about this. And it does take a lot of bit guts, but as I say, I just wanted to try and find another solution for myself. Anyway, so hopefully this will just continue getting better and better. Obviously no cure, but you know what I mean. So at least it's not where I was a month ago. But thanks anyway for listening.